On Earth, they believed that life was better than any quality of life. Such philosophies ended in the ultimate final paradox. There's not even a last woman or man on Earth. They used to think philosophical ideas benign, but nothing could be further from the truth. The ideas are what killed them.
Harriet to Mars 1. Comms down. Ship destroyed. Crew dead. Catastrophic failure. Cause unknown. Equipment gone. Observations limited. will attempt to fulfill duties as sole survivor of Earth mission.
On this 10th anniversary of Martian independence, I've been asked to speak to the people of Mars, to address the decisions we made and the sacrifices we made to end the war, toward our collective dream of life on this sacred planet, and one day, back on Earth. Some among us have even gone as far as to suggest that we went too far in ending the war as we did. Had they won the war, would life on either planet, across species, be better than what we have now? To the sacred sites in equatorial Mars, where the Terran nuclear weapons decimated our first... The mass extinction event had rendered the oceans sterile. Had already crossed the brink. A planet that had given so much life. A future where there was none. With generations will come new beginnings. The new genesis, new stories.
Dream of Earth no more. We dream of Earth no more. We dream of Earth no more. Dream of Earth no more.
The sudden force of the thrusters. A sliver of window. Blue. Fierce, rising blue. Into the thin veil that held everything on that planet as one. Everything that ever breathed, photosynthesized, mutated into something more. I was crying, not for the lost planet, for my dad. Imagining him alone on the road back to California. Would he even go back? And the next time I saw Earth was from Valles Marineris.
Divine wasteland, you who spoke of war. There is no life. This planet is gone.
I was 13 years old when I made the journey to Mars. My father was a true believer in the Martian project, long before it became the Terran's last salvation. He got me on that rocket to Mars. Unspeakable sacrifices, giving up even himself, his life with me. I understand why he did what he did, but I could never forgive him for his betrayal. For the lie. The sky had become our throne of despair. No escape from Terran gravity. For my parents and the other scientists inside those walls, theirs was a privilege few could imagine. And it would have taken a planetary effort to save Earth. And the governments of the world were set on paths of mutually assured self-destruction. These multinational conglomerates, as evil as my father would say they were, could achieve interplanetary travel and some measure of salvation for those lucky enough to find their way to Mars. I hardly knew my mother until we were reunited on Mars. And there would be video messages from her, but they felt distant. Because they were. I mean, the 40-minute lag in video transmissions meant we could never have a real conversation. My father and I would look to the stars, find the glow of the red planet, and he'd tell me stories about Mom. Video feeds and stories told against a night sky.
I lost track of the years. It just happened. Hadn't even noticed, and then one day, crossing the desert of God knows where, I realized I was living in a yearless reality. Not even seasons to mark time. Earth was just burning, regardless of tilt. Eternal summer, smoke. I think it's been 12 years, maybe more, maybe less. I've been inside this place for some time. Some remnant of an out-of-the-way dwelling, far from any primary or secondary roads, and nowhere near a city. I had nothing to write with, nothing to say. What is there to say when you're starving? These moments of reflection come with a full stomach and not being terrified of death. This secret hideaway brings me peace and time to think. But where do I begin? To whom do I leave this lost letter? I would address it to you, but I know you'll never read it. I address this to no one but myself.
I was born 6 years after the last rains fell in California. Or anywhere west of the Continental Divide, for that matter. And my parents talked about rain with almost religious significance. Like clouds, like like fists, and the smell of the desert afterwards. And rain was just an idea to me. It was strange even that water could fall from the skies. My parents were valuable to the corporations, so we escaped that fate. And I was just a kid. I didn't understand how sheltered I really was. And the horrors of life outside those walls. My parents saw the future. If only because they were looking for it. And where everyone else was clawing back to the past, they accepted. Maybe with profound sadness or even desperation. The transformations that were already underway. Acceptance of the last days of life on Earth. They were preparing for radical transformation for life on Mars. And my mom was one of the first, against almost impossible odds, being selected. It was deep sadness that she left behind when she left Earth without us.
I found shelter, warmth, shellfish, and berries to live on. It's just a few miles to the Salish Sea. This is living the best of lives on the last days of the blue planet. But I am so alone. And I have seen many things I cannot unsee. I cannot write about that. After the rocket and you were gone, I had no purpose. I thought about dying, but for reasons unknown to me, I persisted, like a weed. Sometimes I would feel the greatest elation that I had gotten you to that rocket. Truth be told, I thought there were many times we would be killed. That fear drove me to unspeakable things, but you survived. I can't write about it. In this world, it is better to live in the present, or maybe dream of a distant future. But it doesn't help me to look into the past.
Atmosphere comprised of 56% xenon, 16% nitrogen, 14% oxygen, 7% carbon dioxide, 3% methane, 2% hydrogen chloride, 2% hydrogen cyanide, communication systems failure.
These are my findings. These are my findings. These are equatorial forests reduced to dust.
Life in the present is still life. All the suffering in the universe comes from being unable to accept things as they are. What a little horseshit. Our species deserves to suffer. I know that and accept things as they are. To be alive is to be aware of time, finitude. It is without any sense of anger or rage that I say our species deserves to die. Just take one multi-species look at this planet, and you would understand with profound clarity that we have not earned the right to exist. I shouldn't go so dark. It's not good for my temperament. I mentioned I'm by the coast, on the sliver of mainland facing the Salish Sea. You'd love it here. Remind you of a colder version of home. There's food here for the gathering, and if I get the inclination, I may take to the road, make it all the way to Alaska. Whatever's to come, the best chance of survival would be as close to the Arctic Circle as possible.
Sometimes we'd see cities on fire in the valleys. He never said a word about it. I didn't ask. I know nothing of the violence that occurred other than the sounds I could hear from the covers beneath the back seat. He warned me that the journey from California to Texas would be much riskier than any rocket to Mars. At first, I didn't believe him. It didn't take long for me to come to a deeper understanding. It's hard to go back there. Even now. Back then, if you had thought the idea of a Martian revolution possible, you'd have been deemed insane. But these were the kinds of things my father believed.
So few made it here. All the crazies remained in the States, but the fires left them nowhere to go. Had we stayed in California, I am certain we would have both died unpleasant deaths. This makes me sleep well at night, though I sleep by day, mostly. And I am far enough north here to still have some semblance of a life. At night, when I look to the stars, there you are, next to me. There are birds here, tropical birds looking to escape, I presume. The cicadas seem to migrate here sometime over the past few years. The forest used to be so quiet, and then they started to arrive in droves. I'm quite confident it's music they're making, and it's never the same tune twice.
Home. It's an interesting idea. Is it the land or the womb from which you came? They say it's both a blessing and a curse to remember Earth. And soon, Mars and Earth will be in perfect opposition. I still count the 780 Earth days in between, when we look to the stars to seek out our ancient home, as close as it will ever be.
Harriet to Mars 1, this is my last letter. Life suit exhaustion imminent. Harriet to Mars 1, this is my last letter. Life suit exhaustion imminent. These are Define wasteland.
Oxygen levels depleted. Life suit exhaustion imminent. Oxygen levels depleted. Life suit exhaustion imminent. Oxygen levels depleted. Life suit exhaustion imminent. Oxygen levels depleted. Life suit exhaustion. Oxygen levels depleted. Life suit exhaustion imminent. Oxygen levels depleted. Life suit exhaustion.
Species in ruin everywhere, but the ferns and the red cedars seem especially well adapted to the hellscape that is Earth. There's no rain, but an endless fog that soaks into everything. Oh, and ravens. I didn't mention the ravens. I can't see or hear a raven without having to suppress the urge to yell out, "Fuck you," at the top of my lungs. I know that's crazy. I wonder what they'll eat when they run out of corpses to munch on. Sometimes I hear gunfire, the kind that comes with a firefight. Survival is perhaps easiest in solitude. No other mouths to feed, no desperation, no danger from those around me. Mass starvation and multi-species peril were already old news when you got on that rocket to Mars. But while we are alive, while anything mutates, breathes, there is some purpose to find, some way to reflect back on the immutable nature of time. Did your mother ever find evidence of microbial life beneath those ancient riverbeds? Somewhere amidst the ice, maybe? To whom the fuck it may concern, here are the scribblings of a madman who once had a wife and daughter. A regular nuclear family, all right. But don't worry too much about me. I find joy in Zen proverbs, fresh shellfish, and silence. The universe is not testing us. The universe is a test, or it's a wave, and I'm riding it to the end. I just hope I don't die a violent death, even though I deserve one. So I say, Godspeed to whoever finds this. I was among the last humans on Earth, the last generation anyway. And there are people who really love me on Mars.
The psychic horrors my father spoke about. They found me on this faraway planet.
end with a confession. And what's a memoir without some discursive truths in it? I keep telling myself that Earth was in decline. Unstoppable death spiral. The human population down to a few billion. Life systems failing. Entire ecosystems collapsed. Multi-species peril. It's all just a rationale to justify our acts. We are destroyer of worlds. And I dream of Earth every night.